especially like Leeds or somewhere like that, you get the old Bill up there, they want to prove themselves, because it's Mill, they are, 27th of April, Millwall, right, that's it. I don't know, they seem to put on their war gear and they just want to treat you like animals. Don't get me wrong, some of us do deserve to be treated like that, but not all of us, and that's what they got to remember.
There are certain police forces in the country who seem to have an attitude of us and them. They seem to think that they try and prove that they're tougher than Millwall, and the majority of people now just want to go for the football. I think like the club's turned around in the past few years. I don't think hooliganism is major at all. I think that a lot of them seem to want a lot of the police do incite trouble. I think that, any bit of bad language, it takes two of them. They come down and nick a little 13-year-old, and that only causes more trouble because people try and stop it.
That was the overwhelming feeling when we come away from Luton. Not that there'd been trouble, but the effect it was going to have in the papers the next day. You knew they was going to give us stick all the time, whether it's justified or not. And that actual events at Luton was actually caused like the Hillsborough disaster, where there were so many people crammed into one end. One bloke climbed over the fence to get St John's ambulance brigade man from the other end of the pitch because his mate was getting crushed. He's gone over the fence, everyone's seen him doing it, so they followed him. They all got on the pitch. Once the police had lost control, that was it. They was never going to gain control. The only way to gain control was to get them out of the area.
See, the problem there is, anyone listening to that who's not in any... Most people, even if they don't follow football at all, have deep opinions about football and its supporters, will say, they're just apologists, say, is it? But in fact, it is easily controlled, football. There's no such thing as organised football violence. What you've got is disorganised football violence. If it was organised, the police would sort it out like that, and do most weeks. There's not fights at most football matches. The overwhelming majority, there's not fights out and not trouble out. But when it breaks down and someone like Luton was too mean to get the police in and also wanted to grab every shilling they could out of an important cup tie, estimated Mill would bring about 3,000 supporters, they turned up with 10, then they threw their hands up because there was... if you look, the only bit of footage you ever see of Luton is the orange seats getting thrown at police, which was edited by the BBC. There was actually a 50-minute gap between the end of the game and that happening, but the BBC cut it on as if it was a planned thing, all coming on, fits the bill. Got Motson back out the bar to commentate on it. He had no idea what was going on. There's a riot. But you had too many people in one end of the ground. You got a few numbskulled Herberts come over the fence. A load followed them. Police started running away. They chased them. The police chased them back. They chased the police. The police chased them back, and it was all over. Riot. Worst night in British football. Photos all around the world. Must have been at least 10 people killed, weren't there, that night? What are we going to do about this terrible football violence? We're all going to be murdered in our beds. I wrote a thing once saying it's just a bit... Football is a useful thing for newspapers and politicians. Political football's no mean phrase here. It's a good thing. Law and order, control these football supporters. The football supporters are the sons and daughters of most of the people who buy the papers. But they don't recognise it as that because there's this cartoon image of a football supporter. And if you don't agree with me, I'm going to smash your head in.
There were serious troubles in Luton at the 1985 Cup match, both in and around the ground. Local homes were damaged. This was taken to be evidence of the uncontrollable nature of all supporters.
Mrs. Thatcher was enraged to find newspapers filled with reports of Millwall thuggery at Luton, while her own diplomatic triumph at Moscow was relegated to the inside pages.
Luton's response was to ban away supporters, and it provided the Conservative government with the occasion to clamp down on football as a whole.
The Prime Minister is determined to use all her influence with the Football Association.
The culmination was the government's controversial identity card scheme. Even as the club fought its way into the First Division, the newspapers continued to target Millwall, making the most of any incident.
Please God, don't let Millwall win promotion.